Mathematics 2-unit exam. Okay, the first question. For the angle theta, sine theta equals 7 over 25 and cos theta equals negative 24 on 25. Which diagram best shows the angle theta? So, the truth about this question is that we don't particularly care what the values of the sine theta and the cos theta are. We actually only care about the sign in front of them, and by sign I mean SIGN, whether it's positive or negative. So, from the first bit here, sine theta is 7 on 25, positive 7 on 25. Now, since it's positive 7 on 25, it has to be in either the first or the second quadrant. Okay, because remember we have all stations to central, that's all our trig functions are positive here, only sine is positive, only tan, only cos. So if sine has to be positive, then we can't be in the third or the fourth quadrant. So I'm in either the first or the second. Now how do I distinguish between the two? Well, I use this bit of information here. I know that cos theta has to be negative, so it can't be in the first quadrant where all of the trig functions are positive. So therefore it must be in the second quadrant. So it's not this one, it's not this one, it's not this one, it's B. So our answer is B. Okay? Part 2, or question 2. In a raffle, 30 tickets are sold and there is one prize to be won. What is the probability that someone buying 6 tickets wins the prize? So I buy 6 out of 30. So I have a 1 in 5 chance. That's pretty simple. That's C. Okay. Question 3. Which diagram best represents the graph of the parabola y equals 3 minus quantity of x minus 2 squared? Okay, so this is a multiple choice question, so one of the strategies we have is just eliminating answers which are obviously wrong. Now I know here that this is going to be a concave down parabola, because if I expand this out, I'm going to have a negative x squared. Now maybe it's best if I actually expand it out, so that would be minus x squared minus 4x plus 4, which would be negative x squared plus 4x and minus 1. Okay, so clearly it's going to be concave down. I can eliminate A and D. Now I have to distinguish between these two. Now how can I do that? Well, one thing that I can notice is that option B has some solutions. It crosses the x-axis, which means it has a solution. It has 2 solutions, in fact. And C has no solutions because it never crosses the x-axis. So if I can determine if this equation, or this function or equation, has a solution or not, I'll be able to eliminate one of them and then eventually get my answer. So how can I know if something has a solution? Well, I can have a look at the discriminant. So the discriminant here is going to be b squared minus 4ac, which is b squared is 4, so 4 squared, which is 16 minus 4 times negative 1 times negative 1 again. So I have 16 minus 4 times negative 1 times negative 1, that's going to give me minus 4, and so I have 12, and it's greater than 0. So if the discriminant is greater than 0, that means I do have 2 solutions. Actually, I know that there is a solution which exists, and since it's greater than 0, there's going to actually be 2 distinct solutions. But the point is that we can eliminate this because this has no solutions, and we know that this will have a solution. So eliminate C, and my answer is B. Question 4. Which diagram shows the graph of an odd function? Now, here's the key. It's an odd function, so I know that there's going to be some sort of symmetry when I look at its graph. What kind of symmetry is that? It's going to be symmetric about the origin. Symmetric about the origin. So, I can rotate this and see which graph is going to look the same. And in this case, it's going to be A. Okay, so that's what we mean by symmetry about the origin. If we can rotate it 180 degrees, it's going to still look the same. And the only case here is A. So A is our correct answer. Okay. Question 5. what is the derivative of log of cos x? Now, when we find derivatives of logs, the way we do that, let's suppose that we have the log of f of x, some function, and I want to find the derivative of that. That's going to be equal to the derivative of the function, of the inside function, divided by the original function. So in my case, my function is cos, my inside function is cos. So finding the derivative of cos, that's going to be, let's do that, d dx of log of cos x. Now what's the derivative of cos? That's minus sine divided by cos. Sine divided by cos is tan, and I have a minus out the front, so my answer is going to be minus tan x. Okay, so B is the answer here. The next one. What is the period of the function f of x equals tan 3x? Okay, now if I just consider tan x, what can I know about that? Well, the period of tan x has a period of what? Has a period of pi. Period is equal to pi. Now what does having a 3x here mean? That means that I'm going to fit 3 tan functions inside my period. Or in other words, this is the frequency. So the tan occurs 3 times within this period. So if I want the period of this thing here, that means I would have to divide my original period by 3. So the answer is going to be A, pi divided by 3. Alright, here I have question 7. The circle centered at O, or the origin, has a radius 5. Arc AB has a length 7, as shown in the diagram. And there's our diagram. What is the area of the shaded sector OAB? Okay, so I know there are 2 formulas that I will need to use. I know that the area of a sector is going to be a half r squared theta. Now, I have my r, that's 5, but I don't have my theta. How can I work that out? Well, I know another formula that says that the length of an arc is equal to the radius times the angle which it subtends. So, I can rewrite this formula as theta equals L on r, and then substitute that into this equation, and I have A equals a half r squared times L on r, which equals a half RL. Okay, and now I can substitute these values in because I know what my R is, that's 5. And I know what L is, that's 7. That's the length of the arc. So I have 35 divided by 2, and my answer is A. Okay, next one. How many solutions does the equation cos, or the absolute value of cos 2x equal to 1, have for x between 0 and 2 pi? Okay, so this one's going to involve a bit of thinking. There are a few ways to do it, but I think that the best way to do it would be by drawing a graph. So I want to draw